Our world, our life, our responsibility. Terra Viva.
It may be difficult for those outside of the southeast of England to believe, but the region's facing a drought for the third year in a row. This means some water companies ban people from using hosepipes and sprinklers for their cars and gardens. Last year's ban affected over 15 million people. For more than 3 million, it was the second ban in 2 years. Companies are hoping that the return of the rain means one of the worst droughts for a century is coming to an end.
We're very hopeful that we will be able to avoid restrictions next summer, but you can never say never. We have had average rainfall just about in the southern parts of the country this winter. The winter is very important for southeast England because we depend for 70% of our water on groundwater.
Since the privatisation of English and Welsh water supply in 1989, there are dozens of privately owned companies that manage water, which means there are lots of independent networks. Each company is responsible for the efficiency of its own network, something many are trying to improve.
What we had done is to bring forward our investment to make sure we utilise as much of the capacity of our network as possible, to make sure we could transfer water around as effectively as we needed to be. So if we had a deficiency in one area caused by the low rainfall, we could replace that water by transferring it from somewhere else.
Despite investment, higher bills and water restrictions mean consumers' patience with the companies is starting to dry up.
And I've got water flooding out of the waterworks quite regularly from the little spot over there. And I find that I can't even clean my car. And yet I see floods of water running down the road.
Leaks have been a major cause for concern. In some cases, leakage accounts for more than actual consumption of water by the public. Companies must now replace pipes that are well past their use-by date.
There is an unacceptable rate of leakage in London. The London water pipes are mostly from the 19th century, or some even earlier. The amount of water that's lost every day is about 9 Olympic swimming pools. It's just about equal to the amount that could be produced by a large desalination plant, which Thames Water want to build to make up for this deficiency.
The industry regulator Ofwat has imposed targets on companies to reduce leakage or face fines. Three Valleys Water spent nearly €2 million changing Victorian-age pipes in London, but the company says it's worth the cost and the inconvenience to the consumer.
This is what the people in North London are getting their water through at the moment. We're replacing them over a period of 5 years, about 20% of the water mains, with durable plastic pipe, which is this stuff. Much more user-friendly, less likely to burst, and certainly, as you can see, more preferable for water quality.
Another tool companies are using to preserve water is the introduction of more meters. Unlike in mainland Europe, most homes in Britain do not have a water meter. They do not pay for how much they use, rather the size and location of their home. Studies show that meters would reduce how much people use by between 5 and 15%. Better for those who don't leave the tap running.
Yes, no, I think it's a fair assumption, and then because people do use different amounts of water depending on whether you have a large garden or not, so I think it's quite fair.
There are proposals to make meters compulsory. One company already has, but some households would bear the brunt. Consumer groups are calling for financial help for those families whose pockets would be hit the hardest.
Having a young family, I'm sure that we probably use more water than in the average family. Teenage girls growing up. So I'd probably find I end up paying more if we have a water meter, I think.
Britons use around 150 litres per household per day, about a sixth more than the European average. Programmes have been set up to make people realise exactly how much they use and how they could use less. Ted Casey runs one such programme directed at children to teach the importance of not being wasteful.
we've got to get it right with this generation so that they have a habit of using water wisely, not wasting water, that they take that message home to their parents, and they will use what we call pester power to make sure that they don't waste water, don't leave taps running, but they get their parents into good habits, and possibly even their grandparents.
Oh, what did you get? 60. So you're the people who stand all day in the shower and use lots of water?
Companies are expected to do their bit to cut leakage and improve efficiency. But public awareness from an early age is also vital if Britain is to save up its water supply for an unrainy day.
40? You have a little lass. You're our water savers. You're our water champions.